Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the CRL, or CR Lawrence, 0P27NHDU. This is a 3/4 inch offset pivot set. NH means non-handed in the part number. It is reversible. We'll go over that in a moment. Allows an 1/8 of an inch vertical adjustment, which we'll go over also. Suitable for aluminum frames and doors weighing up to 125 pounds. Flush with frame face is the application, and what that means is your door needs to be flush with the face of the frame. That's not always the case with doors. Sometimes there's a very slight inset. You'll need to confirm that you have a flush condition, and the other dimensions, which we'll go over in a moment, before purchasing it to make sure that it's compatible. One set per package. First of all, you're going to get bolts for everything. If there's somewhere you need to bolt this down to, you're going to get it in this package, and we'll go over that also. Let's start from the top down. First of all, you're going to get the header portion. That's what it looks like, and this is also available in aluminum if you change the A in the part number to DU. Now, starting at that top portion, this is the part that's going to be prepped into the frame. Got your 3 holes that will be, they're tapped, and you'll have 3 holes drilled and countersunk in the underside of the header that will mate to these locations. There is below this video also an exploded schematic drawing. Certainly does not give every important detail about it in terms of not all of the locations, but it gives most. Let's double check it now, or the parts that it doesn't really give. The overall width of the header portion, about 1 3/8. Projection outside of the header itself is 1 1/4. Then with the tongue that sticks into the header, puts you out to about 2 1/8. So 7/8 of an inch, it sounds like. Yep. Height of the body at its maximum, 7/8. Now, moving on down the line here, you have the door portion. The pin is simply spring-loaded, and that's how you're going to install it. Depressing that, snapping the door in, and it will come up and lock into place. Obviously, that's going to work like that. Dimensionally, the top door portion, about 1 3/8 wide again. Overall height, 1 3/4. Projection, about 1 1/4. Okay. The inside wall of the door will be prepped for the bolts that are going to be included. That's those large hex cap screws that are there. It will go into those tapped holes on the inside. Moving on down the road, the housing for the bottom portion, portion for the bottom pivot is the same dimensions, except that this, okay, receives the spindle from the floor portion, which we'll show at length in a moment. Let's double check these dimensions to be sure they're the same. 1 3/8, 1 3/4, 1 1/4. That's all the same. Now, moving on down to the floor portion. This is a 3/4 inch offset pivot. And what that means specifically is that the dimension of the vertical axis of pivoting is 3/4 inch measured off the face of the door. So from this face here to that imaginary vertical line is 3/4 inch. Okay. Now back to the floor portion. That bottom pivot stud is threaded in. The 1/8 inch adjustment they mentioned earlier is by putting a small wrench onto that stud and turning it in or out, up or down, securing it with this set screw that's loosened, dimensionally. The floor plate is 1.5 inches, about 3 inch. Overall height, about 1.1 inches, with the spindle, and then 5/8. So we got about a 1/2 inch worth of the spindle. Screws are included to mount that to the floor. Not only that, but you're going to get a couple of plastic anchors, like you can see there, and then these large screws will be for attaching it. Very typical and common sort of pivot hardware is going to be used in a lot of instances with aluminum doors and frames. Give you an idea of what that undercut needs to be. Okay, if you're going to flush your door off to the bottom of the pivot, you've got about 13/16 or so to the bottom of the plate. Really couldn't get away with much less than that. Could get away with a little bit more because you got a little bit of room before you get that first screw, but 3/4 to 1 inch, it's going to be what you're dealing with in terms of an undercut, and then your typical margin of 1/8 of an inch generally at the top. Keep that in mind as well. C.R. Lawrence is a comprehensive provider of all things pivot hardware related for aluminum storefront doors, and their name is really synonymous not only with that, but Jackson exit devices, which go hand in hand with aluminum doors, but shower door hardware, frameless shower door hardware as well. Any questions on the C.R. Lawrence OP offset pivot 27NHDU 3/4 inch offset reversible pivot set? You can see from that description, it doesn't matter if you've got a right hand or a left hand door, it'll work either way. Or any other C.R. Lawrence product, please feel free to reach out to us.